should be live now.
All right, I call the order of Millersville Board of Commissioners work session Thursday, January 5th, 2017 at 5:03 p.m. Karen has some items she wishes to add.
I'd like to add for the top of the list, discussion related to the waste industry's contract extension. And then after number 5, discussion related to impound lot in public works building.
All right. Item number 1, discussion of waste industries trash contract.
We have an amended agreement, an amendment to the agreement, and I had asked Rob Wheeler, our attorney, to take a look and make sure that we were legal with this, and didn't have to put it out to bid. And his original legal opinion was that we would probably have to put it out to bid based on TCA code, but asked that I contact the comptroller's office to make sure that, there wasn't any other issues with it or whatever. We did. Comptroller's office sent us, which I sent you all, their decision, legal decision on a case. It's Savage versus the state. And in Savage, the actual contract itself said that it was renewable for the same terms, nothing changed. For Savage versus the state time. Which is the case with Savage, the actual contract itself says that it's renewable for parties choose to do so. For Savage versus the state time. And which is the case with Savage, the actual contract itself says that on the same terms, renewable one of the parties choose to do so. For Savage versus the state time. And which is the case with Savage, the actual basically amended on the same terms, renewable one of the parties choose to do so. For Savage versus the state time. And which is the case with Savage, the actual, and according to the comptroller's office, we can do that. So I just wanted to let you know. I do have, I believe I emailed y'all this amendment. It's very simple. It's just the extension of it from July of 18 through August 31st of 2023. So if it's okay with y'all, I'll move it on to the next commission meeting and have it executed.
So we're still at 3% every year increase.
Correct.
As the present contract we
If any of the contract changed, then we would have to actually go out to bid, but if the contract stays the same, we don't.
So what is the current contract hold? And in here it talks about all terms and conditions will continue unchanged, except as specifically modified herein. Have there been any modifications? Then what is the original contract? What does it call for?
It calls for a 3% increase per year.
That's it?
That's it.
So nothing else changes.
Mm-mm.
We still have to see Mr. Dean crying every once in a while.
Oh, yeah. Trust me,
Well, I think my thinking when I asked them to look into, and asked Karen to look into putting this on the agenda and us starting to talk about it, is not to wait till the last minute until their contract ran out.
When does it run out, Mayor?
In about a year.
You got one more year?
yeah.
And get it done now. If everybody is happy with their service, then there's no need to wait till the last minute to get it done and be set for the next 5 or 6 years. I don't think that we're gonna find a better deal anywhere, and I'm not talking about just the trash pickup, I'm talking about the relationship that Waste Industries has with the city, the relationships that they've made with the library, and they're looking to make more relationships inside the city. I know we've tentatively talked about they may even get involved in this Veterans Park. So, like I said, and that's nothing in concrete, but they may. I would rather, myself, I would rather get started on it and get it out of the way rather than waiting until the last minute.
What did you say, the contract is not open, up until July of 18?
Correct.
So we theoretically have a year and a half.
Right. And it's not, from my perspective, it's not unusual for us to extend contracts out early, especially when everything's going well, as Tim mentioned, instead of waiting to kind of bump up against that timeline and, things just kind of get scattered. So we've even had them, extend even earlier than this time frame also in the past. But we appreciate you considering it and the opportunity, and we appreciate you letting us continue to work with you. It's been a great relationship. I think most of you, or all of you, have met Ryan, and since he came on as our general manager, it's just been a great relationship. And we feel so from our side, our perspective. And as Tim mentioned, I mean, our intent is certainly to continue those partnerships, as you mentioned, the Veterans Park and other things in the years to come. And we just have a great program to partner with the communities that we work in. And we look forward to that. So we appreciate it. And whatever you do, don't let Karen get away. I mean, she's been a really good manager to work with.
I'll pay you later.
Okay, I hope so. We went up to $20, but yeah, she really has. She's very efficient.
The other thing that I would add is, we can wait a year, or we could wait a year and a half and do this, but it's in their advantage to do it now, but it's also in our advantage to get it over with. Who knows where the gas prices will be a year from now? If we lock them in now, hey, that's on them, it's not on us.
Exactly. I wanted to kind of mention that, but that's one of the, we don't find this in a lot of contracts, but it's one that I had kind of come up with the idea a little bit, and you and I talked about it, but let's go with a fixed, an annual escalator, and we'll take all the risk on fuel.
Right.
And some people kind of look at it sideways for doing that, but, we feel it's worth it. But you're right. I mean, there's a good possibility you see the prices creeping now, but that risk is on us. And we know that, we accept that, but, we'd like to go ahead and get it done, because you're right, if you wait, then at that point, and it gets up really crazy, they may be calling Ryan and I from Raleigh, telling us we don't have a whole lot of choice, but, let it go out. We don't want to have that, anything like that happen. So that's an excellent point, so thank you.
Well, that, and another good point to me would be, we very rarely see either one of these guys. And if you don't see them, that means there's not a whole lot of problems.
What is that 3% represent in dollars?
Oh, gosh.
Probably 7,000, 8,000. I think the original contract was 230 something,
I'm trying to remember.
230, 240.
Yeah, somewhere right around there, I believe that's correct.
That's per month.
No, that's a
I mean,
year.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
annual-
yeah, yeah.
annual.
It's like
So-
20 we pay 22,000 a month.
Yeah, and it's went up 3% each year, so.
No, it didn't go up 3% last year. They didn't do it.
We actually, it was Ryan's decision, he held back on that increase because of some things that we need to get straightened out. So that's an excellent point. Thank you, Terry. That is 1 year, but it's taken out of the mix and also needs to get compounded.
So it's gonna be somewhere in that 7,000 to 10,000 a year increase each year.
And one thing, if I may add, if it's okay, is that our disposal cost is going up over 5% a year, every year. And we're, where that 3% helps make up that increase in disposal costs. But if you did have something like this to go out for bid, that would be taken into consideration. It would certainly have a pretty significant impact on the pricing structure.
I thought at one time we mentioned that y'all had your own landfill. That's still the case.
We have one, but not one we can take any garbage from here to. And we have about 14 of them throughout several states, but not here in Minnesota. Okay? Not here, and we utilize, we're in agreement with one of our competitors to utilize their transfer station. And they've already given us notice, was it 2 years ago, that they're going to go up 5% a year, every year, regardless, as a minimum. But that risk is on us also now, with the way your contract's structured. And that's probably the highest, one of the highest cost components, don't you think? Yeah, so we want to keep working here. We think it's a good deal for everyone. Someone says, oh, get a contract is one where everyone benefits. So again, we appreciate you considering it. Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Just, I guess, is there consensus that
Yes,
we
it
move
is,
forward?
if you want to put it on the next work session.
My only concern is that MTS opinion that was written in 1992,
94.
94, and it does make distinction between Savage and the first one.
Yeah.
talking about. So essentially, the contract is, the current contract calls for 3% period. We're not allowing an increase that is not
Already in
formally
there.
in the first contract.
Correct, it's
Right.
exactly the same contract.
And the good thing is she contacted the comptroller, and I was in her office when she spoke with him, and, he was in agreement with what she thought, what MTS. All right, I guess you'll move that on to the regular meeting.
Yes, sir.
Is that 2 weeks from tonight? Is that
Mhm.
Okay.
17th.
No, it's 10 days.
The 10 days, it's the 17th,
Okay.
Third Tuesday.
Okay, Thursdays. Got it.
6:30.
Okay. Just now, 6:30. Thank you.
All right, discussion related to the Veterans Park.
Unfortunately, Connor wasn't able to make it tonight, but he and I talked, and he is available whenever we're available. So we talked about it a little bit, and tentatively, we're looking at the last Wednesday in January for the first committee meeting. It will be held here at 5 o'clock. So, I will send out an email to all of the committee members, make sure that, they're aware of it and are okay with it. If that's the case, then that's when the meeting will be.
So last Wednesday of January.
Yes, sir.
We'll put that in the computer as
26.
well. You send that to our computer as well.
I will be sending it, yeah.
Mind I ask a question? I know it's a work session, but I don't want to take up your time. Is that considered an open meeting? I would
Yes.
assume? Okay, and the only reason I ask is we're looking at trying to partner and help, in some fashion with the city. Would it be all right if we just observed and
Absolutely,
see how it goes?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
And that's the 25th.
It's the 25th? Okay, it's the
good,
25th.
thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Item number 3, discussion related to new apparatus for the fire department.
Okay, as you know, we have discussed this in several other work sessions. The interest of 2.99%, which is for the purchase of this apparatus, is being honored through this month. And I wanted to get this forward so that we could lock that 2.99 in. They gave us a purchase agreement, Rob and I went through it, he asked for some additional language on it, which they agreed to. Basically, the only change in it, was the fact that, any kind of disagreement will go to Sumner County Court and be governed by Tennessee law. That was the only difference that we added into where it says waiver of jury trial. So, with that being said, I did put it on a special meeting immediately after this one for you all to be able to vote on and allow me to execute the contract. Now, this is just a contract for purchase. When we get the actual agreement for the $299, the financing, 2.99, then at that point, we'll have to get the comptroller to agree to it before we can sign it. So,
Is this something that's done with one vote, or is it?
it's done via resolution, and that resolution, if you should pass it tonight, should be enough for the comptroller to be able to say yea or nay.
But Mr. Gregory had a point on paragraph number 5C.
Yeah, that caught my eye when I was reading that. You explain that to me if you don't mind, 5C, holding apparatus at the company plant until such time fire takes delivery, to charge buyer storage fee for each day, calculated prorated for each day at an annual rate of 18% of the price specified in paragraph 2, and that's talking about $390,000. 18% of that, roughly $70,000 a day. That sort of threw me for a loop.
What's the chances of it not being picked up when it's ready?
It's gonna be
No,
delivered, or is it gonna be picked up?
It's actually, the apparatus is gonna be delivered, once it's manufactured, we'll go down and do what they call a final inspection. While we're at the manufacturer, we'll do a final inspection to ensure that it meets the specs, everything was done as priced. Once that's complete, it's delivered to their facility in Murfreesboro, which is, right, it's the first day that you get to Murfreesboro, heading towards Chattanooga in the east there. They'll do all the equipment add-ons and everything on there, and then when they get complete, they'll bring it to us to deliver it here. If there was an issue, they could deliver it, trust me, we have no trouble wanting to pick it up.
Well, could you explain that paragraph form? I know I asked you earlier about it, the paragraph off the 5C, you know, holding that apparatus, if it's for one day, we're late, that's $70,000, I'll throw it in the ground. And that's a little concerning to me, because we're gonna sign this, or pass this, I don't know about this paragraph, 5C. Just a little bit, caught my attention when I read that. And it's related to what we're signing here, that's what we gotta be
Let
concerned.
me read this over again.
Also, you're saying that all we do is pick it up, we'll just have to go to Murfreesboro, pick it up?
We'll have to go to Murfreesboro's where we gotta go pick it up at.
Okay.
Yes, because technically our destination point is it's like buying a car. You know, the car may be made in Michigan, but your destination point to pick it up is in the car dealership that you bought from. Say it's GM, you buy it, you pick up the Sierra over here. Same thing with us. Our dealer is Mid-South and Mercy, which is in Murfreesboro, so that's our point to pick it up at, would be Mid-South and Mercy.
Okay, I see what they're saying here.
Okay.
It says you got 10 days.
You've got 10 business days from the notified delivery date to conduct the buyer's final inspection.
Okay, that include A, B, and C, that's what they
Well,
say.
really, in paragraph number 5, the buyer is required to take possession on the notified delivery date or within 10 days at the company's option. It's a company option, not our option.
Yeah, I didn't get that far.
Thank you.
So basically what they're saying is if we don't take possession of the apparatus on the notified delivery date or within the 10 business day period thereafter, if applicable, company has the right to charge us the 18%. That's basically what they're saying, at their option.
But they're leaving at their option the choice of whether the notified delivery date is the time of possession or 10 days. That's in the paragraph below C. And we're bearing the risk. In other words, if there's a fire in Murfreesboro and it burns up, we pay for the apparatus. Buyer shall bear the risk of loss or damage to all apparatus remaining in the possession of the company after the notified delivery date, or more than 10 days, business days after the notified delivery date, if applicable.
Yeah, but the top says, okay, if requested at the time of order, buyer will have up to 10 business days. So I would have to request it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if we make the request for 10 business days, still again, any risk of loss when it's not in our possession, if it remains in Murfreesboro, comes back on us, right?
That's not the way I read it, and I apologize, but if we requested 10 days, during those 10 days, it's not our responsibility. Anytime thereafter, it would be.
Yeah, on the 11th day.
Exactly.
And trust me, the day one it'll be here.
It wouldn't be our truck until they do their inspections. And,
So he does an inspection.
yes,
We'll go down, and when we go to pick it up, we're gonna do the inspection, and should bring it back with us. That would be our,
If you're satisfied with it.
if we're satisfied, if we're satisfied that everything is good on it, we'll bring it back then.
What happens if they disagree?
What if you don't like something?
If there's a disagreement in it, typically what's happened before in the past that I've dealt with, if we have a disagreement, when it's even in our possession, they'll take it back and fix the problems, which at that point, we've already took possession, and then they will fix any of the things. We have a year warranty on it, so they have a year to fix any of the possession that they don't want. Now, if it's at the factory, it's different. At the factory location, they will actually fix it before they ship it to Mid-South. If it gets to Mid-South and it requires a factory, to fix it, they'll have to send it back down to Ocala for them to fix it.
but there's specifications as to what everything's supposed to be.
Their
So
specifications
it's
right
all
here.
written out,
There-
it's black and white.
The bid specs that we put out and the specifications right here are right here.
I mean, that's a lot of specifications.
To go by.
Well, what about the 18% on the 11th day?
It's a risk, but
Well, it's something we need to look at, I think.
That'd be only if it would be there for us to pick up, and we waited 11 days to pick it up. If they notify him that it's ready to pick up, and if he don't go get it for 2 weeks, then it'd be on us.
So
Well,
that's-
I don't see that happening.
I don't either. They're just throwing out an incentive to get there in 14 days.
And now, I will say this, with this company that we're dealing with here, with Ken, it's delivered. I've never seen Ken not deliver an engine that he is, unless it's multiple engines and he's got help bringing them in. Most fire companies, and my understanding from Ken is he'll be driving this truck up here for us.
I would say that clause is to guard against big cities buying multiple trucks and having 20 trucks sitting on their lot for 2 months.
well, and again, it says the buyer shall bear the risk except when the apparatus is in the possession of a company contracted drive-away service.
Okay.
So if they're delivering it,
I see.
that's their responsibility. Again, this is my interpretation, I'm not an attorney, so.
I would say that as long as we ask that we ask for the 10 business day grace period, we're in pretty good shape.
Can we pass the resolution with the, with knowing that Rob will take a look at this and talk to that company about it?
We could. But that's not gonna allow me to execute it until.
Well,
Rob is-
I think, pursuant to paragraph 5, if you request at the time of the order for the 10 business days,
Exactly,
we're
that's
in
covered.
pretty good shape.
Okay. You think it's-
Yeah, I think we'll be, as long as we pick it up within 10 days.
Well, I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
Okay.
No.
We got a whole fire department back there, Kitty's ready to go get it.
These guys will keep my tail if I wait past before the first hour, once they call it.
Part of the resolution be that if they pick it up past the 10-day period, we dock the fire chief.
I can add it in there without a problem.
So they go work for free for several years.
Yeah, that needs to work for free for some years.
All right, anybody got anything else on the fire truck?
How long is this, loan scheduled out to be? How many years? 10?
It's 10 years.
And we'll take delivery in how long, Thomas? 10 months?
It'll take approximately, they're saying 270 days is what they're looking at, and then they'll have it in Murfreesboro probably to mount the equipment, install the equipment. My goal to see it would be before the next Christmas break.
That'd be good, but that is a lock-in.
If not sooner, that's our goal, we want to get it sooner. And sometimes it works faster.
And the
I
first
saw
payment
something.
is not due
It's a
until
great
delivery.
one.
And I saw something in the email, they're looking at 12 years, which is normally what a capital outlay note for that amount could be, is 12. Is it 10 or 12?
I thought it was 10.
The email I got
They had
was
options.
12 years.
They had options of 10 and 12
Oh, okay.
on the note. If you wanted 10 years, it was this. If you wanted 12 years, it was this.
Everything I saw said 12 years, so that's why I was curious. I didn't open the email, I mean, I just read it.
Is,
So,
what color is the truck? Is it gonna be a white truck?
It's gonna match our system. Yeah. That's the Millersville colors, so we want to stick with what we've got.
We still gonna get an email from the attorney. You think he still needs to look at that for us?
Not if y'all, I'm not.
You okay with that? Everybody okay? Well, after you explained it pretty good, I think.
Yeah, and you see, Rob looked at this beforehand, he would have probably,
I would almost bet that that paragraph's in there to guard against major cities ordering 20 trucks and leaving them sitting on the lot.
Yeah. Commissioner Bell explained that pretty good, so I appreciate it.
All right. Discussion related to the Parks Board and possible new members. Had a couple of people that wish to be on the Park Board. I'm looking for their name.
It's Andrew Nichols, insurance Green, Shannon Green, Sean Green.
One lives at Bellard Drive, and the other lives at Slayer's Creek Lane. I think a lot of these, if you come to a lot of events, you've seen Shannon Green, you may not know her, but she comes to a lot of the events and has helped out in a lot of those. Mr. Nichols, I think he's just expressed interest in being on the board. We are a few members short. So, does anybody have any problems with either one of those? Okay, we'll move to discussion related to pumps.
as you know, the second and final reading of the ordinance that's going to require new residential construction to be responsible for the repair and maintenance of their own pumps. We will still come out as a courtesy if the light's on, the alarm's going on. We'll come out and check it out, because a lot of times all that has to happen is just a reset. And we'll find out what the problem is. If it needs repairing, then the homeowner's responsible. Businesses, that's new construction. In the past, the promise that was made was to the residents of residential property only, not businesses. And apparently, we have been servicing all of the businesses all these years, which explains a lot of the cost on the pumps too. My philosophy is, again, to speak when there is somebody that calls in from a business and say, as a courtesy, we've come out and fixed minor things, but this is a major thing and it's your responsibility, whether it's the business who owns the property or the property owner who's leasing it to the business. Businesses keep changing over and over again. We have seen a lot of abuses, and we just had one just recently that I had to say that to, because we've been out there and pumped and pumped and pumped and tried to fix as much as we can, and it's now to the point where it's gonna have to be replaced. And it's due to a lot of misuse, so.
Is it a business?
Yes. So I informed them that they would have to handle it, and they complied. So I'm looking to you all for direction. I mean, it was never the intent for us to ever service businesses, only residential. And
I wouldn't disagree with that. And, you know, I know the business that you're speaking of, it's changed hands a lot of times. So, you know, I know for sure there was never any promises made, to that business owner. So,
All I know is most of the, what I remember that went on was the residents is the ones that received the service. And actually, part of your sewer bill actually is figured in, the price is figured in with the services included. So, I mean, you know, and also.
It's supposed to pay for it, yeah, but, you know,
Also,
things go up.
that pays your sewer bill, plus a certain amount of it goes toward repairs, stuff like that. If no repairs are done, then the city comes out well, and of course, I feel like the citizens do too, because they're not, having a problem with having it fixed. So, you know, I don't have a problem as long as the residents, you know, gets theirs fixed, you know.
yeah, I think that's what I think we're talking strictly business.
Yeah, I think so. I don't have a problem with the business. I feel like that the residents, because part of their bill is being paid in is part of that service.
What do y'all think?
I agree with you and Mr. Doris.
Okay.
I agree.
You need a vote at the next,
No, I don't need a vote, I wanted to see what your direction was before we voted on the ordinance.
I think your statement gives the proper direction.
Will that be on next month's meeting,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean this month's meeting?
all right. Discussion related to the impound lot in the public works building.
You're up,
You got all my papers.
they're right here, you're up.
Well, I hope I can get this on my glasses. I'm doing great, Chris. What has come up, and of course, I had talked to both Ms. Miller, and I know me and Tim talked about it. Every city is required, if you tow cars and seize cars, you're supposed to have a tow lot, a secured tow lot. That's something this department, the city's never had. And how in the world they've gotten by with it this long has been very much pure luck, in my opinion. Without a secured lot, if we seize a car for whatever reason, and during the seizure process, we have to, by court order, give the car back. And anything happens to that car while it's in our possession, if it's not in a secured lot, guess who's probably gonna be eating the bullet on that one and having to pay for that car? I'm not an attorney, but I would say that that would be very much opening us up to major liability, should anything happen to a car and it's not in a properly secured tow lot. Yes, sir.
Do we have to have a city-owned lot, or can it be a contracted lot?
I do not know the answer to that.
Millersville uses a contracted lot.
It could very easily be a contracted lot, would probably be sufficient.
The way Hendersonville does it, as I recall, is they put it out for bids as to who will, I guess, be the designated contract lot. And they have to meet certain requirements and qualifications as far as security, and they have to be bonded in case there is damage, and bonded and insured.
Do you know how much that costs them?
That's from years ago. Adcox, out there on Saunders Ferry Road, Sanders Ferry Road, you know, was the city impound lot, designated impound lot back in the old days. But I don't know what they're doing now. And they used to negotiate, they used to bid it out between Adcox and I can't remember the other fellow's name on New Shackle Island Road. But I'm not sure what they're doing right now. But that's what they did in the past. And I don't know how you want to approach it, but yeah, I agree with what you're saying. You're right, but that's the way Hendersonville handles it.
Did you say, is Goulitsville doing theirs the same way?
Goulitsville, I don't know.
Because I'm not, Goulitsville's the one department around I'm not talked to. I know that a lot of the other competitive sized agencies, such as White House, Greenbrier, Rooftop, all that, do their own tow lots.
Yeah.
I have not talked to Goulitsville to find out how they for sure doing theirs.
And we got room here for a tow lot?
Well, that's what we're bringing up.
That was what we were gonna bring up. We do have.
Yeah, I'm not advocating a contract, I'm just throwing it out there as an option.
Yeah, it's,
Yes.
It could be a very good option.
Especially since we have that one down a long drive down there, that towing lot down there, that's a large place.
The one thing, and of course, and from my perspective, the one thing, and I'm not against that whatsoever, if a tow company is willing to do that, you know, if we could contract through them to be our tow line and put the responsibility and the liability on them and off of us, I'm all in. You know, my whole point has been, since what we have here right now, if any of y'all have been out back, we are sitting on, I don't know an exact amount, we're sitting on about, Brandon, 30 cars, 20, 30 cars?
Something like this. 27.
27 cars we have right now sitting out back.
They're unsecure out there, right?
They are not secure out there.
They're unsecure.
The only thing that prevents, or any kind of security that there are for those cars, are these makeshift wooden fences on both ends of the drive of the building. Nothing to prevent anybody from walking around it, nothing to prevent anybody from coming in any direction, and nor are they well lit, nor are they monitored by surveillance.
Can we do that here, if we wanna do that here?
We can.
Can we fly it, surveil it?
That was one of the things that we had been checking on, and Ms. Miller had me check on. Originally, we had talked about taking the grass hill out, straight out behind the building and fencing it in and using that for our tow lot. At which time I actually got 3 rough bids on what it would take to put a fence in that area. All 3 bids came in anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 for the
How much
fence.
ground are you talking about? How much area are you wanting?
It was, they put, it was about 120 by 120. Now, the exact square, each one of them had it on here. But we're looking at about 120 by 120 foot square was what we were looking at. In the conversation of that, of course, Ms. Miller had pointed out, and I fully agreed with her, that if we do this and we have to light it, which is gonna have to be lit, it being up on that hill, every car driving down 31W, you're gonna see all these cars sitting on this hill back here.
Well, and also, we went through a whole scenario with the lots up here going up to White House that required a screen. private
Exactly.
screen. So you're gonna have to,
So it came to her point that she would rather see us try to dig into that hill and keep the tow area that we designated the size of to be the same level, if we could keep it as what we have here, so that the fence across the end of the building here would hide all of it.
what about what Mr. Doris said about on Long Drive?
The only problem we have with that is, and it's not a secured area, even if we put a fence on it, we're still gonna have to put video surveillance there, we're gonna have to light it. That's all gonna have to be paid for, and the only concern that I have with that is, there, you're pretty much gonna have somebody go down almost every hour to check it, just to make sure that it's not been compromised. Or if it happens to be somewhere on property, on site, there's constantly people in and out of here, whether it be public works, fire department, police officers, even, commissioners, y'all are in and out here all the time, that it's very well visible to anybody that happens to be back here that could report it to us immediately should something happen.
If I may, the other portion of this whole thought process is, if they were to go ahead and get the impound lot in the back, the shed that's behind right now that Public Works is using, they would use that as well. As you know, we had planned on building Public Works, their building with the showers and all of that kind of stuff, and we put it aside because we thought we might move on to Long Drive. That has definitely not come to fruition. What we are proposing is to go ahead and get another building, and I think it was 34,000, wasn't that what he got?
Rough deal was 34.
Jerry got a quote of about $34,000 for this building that will go on the side of the Public Works buildings and pretty much take on the rest of that side. All of their equipment that's sitting outside is gonna go underneath there. And a portion of it, we were gonna talk about bathrooms and the shower, but they've made some changes within their own office to their bathroom right now that will allow for a shower stall to be put in there. So we don't have to add a shower to it, we just have to make sure that there is a drain there so that when they clean out, I call it sucky, the
Pump truck.
pump truck, thank you. It goes into the sewer system like it's supposed to. So with that, and the washer and dryer are up there now, so that area has been, it's been handled, so. We have enough money in the sewer budget, not budget, but in the sewer fund, to go ahead and fund that other building. That is not my concern. My concern is funding the actual fencing for that. We can do our own digging. I do want to have our engineers take a look at it and see what type of retaining wall we're gonna have to put there. Because once we start digging into that hill, we're gonna have to do it. But I don't wanna ask them to do this without y'all's consent first.
How big an area are you talking about digging out?
Pretty much about the same size as we did, but there again, a lot of that's gonna depend on what the engineer tells us. An engineer may come up there, we're wanting to say a 120 by 120, maybe we wanna go 120 feet back into that hill. They may tell us, well, based on the slope and drainage and this and that, you're not gonna get this out of that hill, not without digging down the entire back lot. That's something we're not gonna know until they look at it.
Do you have an estimated cost on what that would cost?
I don't know. I didn't wanna even ask them. I've got some money in the budget for engineering in several departments, some in the, admin department also, so, I mean, I just didn't wanna go to them without y'all saying, yeah, this is a good idea, I think you need to look into it.
I think if you started excavating 120 feet back in that hill, the cost of the excavation is one thing, and
That we can do ourselves.
unless you hit rock.
Well, that's true.
What about,
I thought you were gonna put a retaining wall up of
Well,
some
that's what I'm
sort
talking about.
to keep
Well,
everything
we
washing
had,
down.
the city property has been surveyed, so they know where the lines are.
well, I'm just talking about when they were digging out for the school over here, when y'all were here, you and Mr. Dorr.
Yeah, but they dug up on the hill. Most of this front down here is field. Now, the hill where he's talking about digging is not field. I don't know that you'd hit rock, but there's always that
There's always that possibility.
But the big cost is not gonna be the excavating. Even if you hit rock, the big cost is gonna be that retaining wall.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's gonna be a
Because that's probably gonna be one of those stacked stone retaining walls. And
Unless,
it's not cheap.
and there again, now, this is not gonna be something we're not gonna know until an engineer looks at it. But myself, and I know you've looked at it with me, and we didn't discuss this specifically, but if you'll look down the drive here, all we're talking about is going with the same level, and the height of the ground here is pretty much the exact same all the way back. It is entirely possible, there's no retaining wall down through here. So it's possible that we might have to be able to slope it to a point we wouldn't have to have a retaining wall.
Possibly.
But once again, it's not gonna be something we will know until we can get an engineer to look at it and sign off, say, yes, you know, you can go this far and this far without a retaining wall, but if you go this far, you're gonna have to have one. That's gonna be an unknown until they look at it.
Well, regardless, even whether it's a slope or retaining wall, it's gonna take more fence. Because you don't want the fence at the bottom of the slope. The fence needs to be at the top of the slope. If the lawnmower gets off on that slope and gets wedged in the fence, it's gonna tear the fence up. Plus, you wouldn't want somebody from the school to fall down that hill and end up tangled up in the fence. The retaining wall would be the concern I would have.
Yeah.
I would, I don't know what it would cost to get OHM to give us a rough figure as to what they thought an impound yard back there would cost. I mean, the size you're talking about is somewhere around a quarter of an acre. So, I mean, that's a pretty good sized spot.
It's a pretty good sized spot, which we're gonna need a pretty good sized place that eventually down the road, you will outgrow it. And like I said, right now, we've got 27 cars back there. And here, one of the things that's been discussed and talked about, under Tennessee state law, if we stop somebody revoked for a DUI second offense, this law requires us to seize their car. We're not doing that, and nor is any other police agency doing that on every time they stop one. Simple fact, where do you put the cars? You know, where do you put them when you get them?
Could we do this? Could we maybe get a guesstimate from OHM?
Oh, yeah.
And then also maybe talk to dads and even Dukes.
I wouldn't mind, I'll go talk to everybody that's on our rotation list.
I know Dukes has got a secure lot down
Because we've got Dukes, we've got Harry's, we've got Dad's,
there. But that's gonna get expensive too. I mean, you start
Well,
talking
yeah, when you
about-
start talking about.
Well, they can charge for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots.
Yeah, if you ever have somebody come pick them up.
the only thing with
The
that is,
DUIs you
we,
would though, we don't get.
would we have to pay them if we were awarded for a seizure?
They would be.
Are we gonna owe them more in storage fees than what we get out of the car?
But that's what I'm saying.
Well, right now, we can charge a storage fee.
Yeah, but somebody that gets a DUI in a $500 truck, if it's gonna cost them $1,500 to get it out, they're not gonna get it.
Oh, I know.
What
And let's
about
face it,
lack of insurance? You have impounded vehicles and somebody doesn't have insurance now? What do you do?
not as of yet, they're not requiring that. And is it coming? It's
I
possible.
think it's coming.
I have my own concerns about the insurance law, but
Let me ask you one other question, and I know it's probably not as secure a facility as it would need to be, but up at the top of the ridge, up where the body shop used to be, that fenced area in the back that,
Used to be Harry's, wasn't it?
yeah, it used to be Harry's.
Uh-huh.
Who owns that now?
I have no idea.
Is that something that we could possibly look into? Because I know they're not using it, maybe leasing.
At least $4 a year or something like that, and keep it,
At least the ground.
and make the improvements to
Put the
it.
lights in, put the cameras in. I mean, if you can lease something, even if it costs you a couple of thousand a year, it's gonna be way cheaper than storing 30 cars at somebody else's facility. And I mean, like I said, I've seen it sitting up there for 4 or 5 years and there's nothing
There's
in
nothing
it.
in there.
Yeah, it should be hard to figure out who owns the lot.
It's pretty sure R&M owns it, R&M or the, it's either R&M or Heat and Air.
It's for sale.
It's for sale? Oh,
Well, there you
say
go.
it's for sale.
That might even be a
What's the
better.
sales price?
I had to get on to him about the mowing.
Oh, you had to get onto them about the mowing?
So you know who owns it?
Yeah.
Okay, Brandon knows who owns
But
it.
Can we
I did
check
know
into
at
that?
one time, there was some discussion about how messy it looked with all those cars up there at one time. We did get complaints about that.
But
It
you
looked
can,
bad,
you
didn't it?
can put in different
So-
screening.
It's already fenced in.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
can
but it's
put,
not screened.
It
the
is?
fence is not tall enough.
Right.
We'd have to
See
put
it
a
from
new
the
fence
road.
up either
Yeah, I
way.
think you'd have to redo the fencing and, you know, you could do screen that was a little more concealing than what's there. But short term, it might cost a little bit more, but long term, you go to these lots, that's gonna be an every year expense. It's never going away.
Well, we can look into all of that and bring it back to you. We just needed to make sure that you guys were okay with us following through on this.
What's the timetable on, let's say you get someone for DUI, you tow the car in, vehicle in. What's the timetable before they have to come by and pick it up or come pick it up?
Well, if we seize the car, it would have to go through the whole court process, including the seizure hearing, which could take months.
I think there's stuff back
And he
there.
was right about that, I mean, if the vehicle's only worth $500, there's a $1,500
We
bill
don't
over there,
usually
they're gonna
bill
leave it there.
DUI though.
Well, we don't
It's
switch just on DUI, but if they're revoked for a
Yeah.
DUI second offense or more, we're supposed to be seizing. And the problem is, you walk back here now and look at the cars we've got, what would you say the most expensive car we got back here, Brandon?
That Infinity,
Then how much do you think it's worth?
$8,000, $10,000.
That's the most expensive,
Most
the
of them.
cheapest, we probably got $500 vehicle back here.
Yeah, most of them are under
That Mustang's pretty hot.
And
If you're seizing them, you know, and you're carrying your DUI through county courts, correct?
Yes, sir.
Shouldn't the sheriff's department be providing the impound lots, or
Well,
the county
see,
be providing them?
This is not going through general sessions court on the seizure, it goes through the state seizure process.
Well, it goes through the state seizure process, but it still has to be delayed until there's a final determination in general sessions.
It would
on
be.
the criminal court.
Well, not exactly, because if you got a revoke for a DUI second offense, don't matter whether you're drunk the day you get stopped or not, if you're revoked for a DUI second offense, we can seize your car.
Okay, but you're not going through city court,
Not
Millersville
going through
City
city
Court.
court.
Because we don't, Millersville City Court doesn't have that authority.
No.
There again, it's all going through state seizure process. It don't even go through general sessions court. General sessions court has nothing to do with it.
We seized a lot of vehicles ourselves in my former job, and when we seized them, we actually impounded them in the county, either in the county or at the state lot in Nashville. So I guess I'm concerned, but we went, if it was in a county, we would contract with the county. But I don't know if Sumner County even has one, you know, I think they do, don't they have their own impound?
They have an impound lot.
I mean, there's things back there that's been back there for 4 or 5 years.
Robinson County have one.
Have we not had the
So
hearings
you'd
yet?
have to,
Is that why
they go Robinson and Sumner.
But
Yeah,
why are we
I'm
waiting
just-
in?
just
Yeah, but that's a good idea, I think it's a good idea, and they have
I
their own
don't know,
impound.
I'm just throwing these ideas out, you know, I do not know.
I got one other question, and this is all this is a question, it's not a suggestion. We have property in the back that's not used. That is the one thing that I believe that could possibly be used for back there that would not interfere with the school, because there's no people. And that was their biggest concern.
You talking
Talking
about,
about the park.
Yeah,
well, that was deeded to us specifically for a park.
Is there any restrictions?
but it's
It wasn't used for a park?
it's landlocked.
I know.
I mean,
we could make it a car park.
Are there any reversions of the property back to the grantor if it's not used for a park?
That's my understanding, I haven't seen the documents.
That's my understanding too, it's supposed to be used for the park.
Well, we would be parking cars there.
well, I mean, we've had, that property's been in the city for probably close to 20 years, and it's never been utilized for anything.
One time it was a walking trail.
With no access.
but they
One
used
time you
that.
put brush back there too,
Yeah.
and you didn't have no other place to put it, because I dumped it back there.
So what I'm saying is, can we look at the restrictions on the deed? Even if we have to work it out with the family that donated it. I mean, that is the one thing that I could see going back there that the school would not object to. They don't want to park back there, the school don't. They told me they don't want to park back there.
You're kidding.
No, they don't want the people back there.
People walking around the school.
They don't want people in the woods behind the school.
See that?
You know, we had talked about, at one time when we was looking for a place to put the library, about putting it here and creating access back there, and they just flat out said they don't want it. They don't want anything behind that school that attracts people.
Or in front of it.
I mean, with what goes on in the country, they just don't want a large number of people walking around that school. That is the one thing I could see that they would be willing to say yes to access back there is a fenced lot. They love fences.
Security.
All right, I'm gonna look at the deed and see what restrictions are.
And, there's a big enough area back there that's flat enough that's hidden, you know, be like Atlas or whatever the name of this place is up here, nobody'd know. And that might be another place that you might check, because I know they have a lot of space up there that's in fenced-in areas. They may be willing to,
Lease part of it.
on a very low number, lease some area up there, and that whole place is fenced.
I know at one time, I don't know if they still are, but they were very leery about anybody even coming on that property.
Exactly right.
Yeah, but you're talking about police department
Your tow truck driver is not a police officer, and they're in and out there all day and night.
Yeah, but they have a huge parking area up front that they don't utilize in any way.
I'm not disagreeing, it'd be a great place.
I'm not talking about
It
it,
would-
I'm not talking about back in the back where they store their product. I'm talking about up front where their main building is. They have a huge parking lot up there that they never use. All their stuff is in the back. I mean, it's already paved, it's already fenced.
But FYI, the people, when they come to get their cars, are gonna have to have access, and we're gonna have to man it somehow, and let them in, out, whatever.
They wouldn't come here to pick up their car.
Pay their fees and everything.
And then
But
you
how
just
do they
send-
get the car?
Well, you just send somebody over to
We
get
talked
Might
it.
not
over
start.
with him.
We run into that every
But
day. A
yeah,
lot of
well,
these
they
that we
don't
sell,
start, they
there's people
come
come
with
with
a
trailers.
flat back.
It doesn't matter, if you have them locked up here, you're gonna have somebody here to open the gate to let them in here.
And pick them up from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, Monday through Friday.
Except on holiday.
Except on
I mean, there's just a lot of, there's a lot of options. You know, I don't think the towing lots, I don't know that that's gonna work, but I think you're gonna end up, you're talking about 30 cars, and they charge, most of them charge by the day. That's gonna become a big number, quick.
Uh-huh.
Well, we'll basically be charging basically the same thing.
But it
We'll be charged by the day.
doesn't matter what we charge, because you're not gonna recoup half of it.
Well, the thing that you gotta look at too, we don't tow every car. Every car we tow will not be brought here. The only thing we bring to our towing lot are vehicles that we're seizing. If we're seizing in hopes that we're gonna become the owner of it, that's what we tow in here.
Right.
There would be no way we could haul every car we tow.
Well, that's what I'm saying, if we see something and we've gotta give it back, okay? We're storing it, we're not necessarily charging fees, and if we don't give it back, if it only sells for $500, we're not out, because we don't have a storage fee. We carry it down there, we're contracting, the city is contracting with the storage lot. So the storage lot is gonna get paid. If it's $1,000 storage bill, they're gonna get paid. If the car only sells for $500, the city's in a hole by $500. Because we have no mechanism to allow us to go recoup the other $500 from whoever's car it is. Correct?
Correct.
So that's where I think we could get upside down with the storage lots is, all you gotta do is walk out back and look at the cars.
Well, like you said, every one that they tow in, they don't seize it. It may go somewhere else. If Dad tows it in, then Dad's responsibility is to get the money out of it, not him. Only the one he tows in. So,
Okay, but we towed in all these back here, and go back there and count how many $500 cars there are back there.
I understand.
And
Some of them $500 cars back there, another $5,000 cars.
Some of them have been here for what, 10 years?
There's one I just sold from 2008, and there's two that have been here before then for an unknown period of time.
So
They have no information on them.
slap a 10-year, holding storage fee on there.
Why are we selling those that are here for 10 years before scrap or something?
Well, the problem that we ran into, anybody can speak if I'm wrong, but, prior to me being appointed in the position I'm in right now, nobody fooled with it.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It just was never done. They would seize them, but nobody ever followed through with it and then try to sell it and get it out of here.
Brandon has sold more cars
Okay.
in the
We've
past.
sold, Brandon's the one that's done it, we've sold more cars, I'd say, in the last 4 months than we have in the last 6 years.
I said the last year between city assets.
What we have to do with
We
those,
have them all over
We
East
should be,
Tennessee.
but I think some of the seizure paperwork was missing on some of them too.
There was a lot of
It was-
paperwork not
right.
followed through
It
on.
was at the seizure paperwork
Right.
and it being released, we can't do it.
What's
Yeah,
the
that's the whole
forfeiture
process.
paper?
Chief, can you not sell them as an abandoned, no matter what the paperwork is?
No.
there's a process that we have to follow.
Yeah.
It was like on the white car that we just sold, there's a process that has to be followed, and Chief just hasn't had time to get that since he's took over to get that process on it. There is a way to get rid of those older ones, we just have to get that process going.
It's a process
It
to
hadn't
go
been
through
the top
paperwork.
priority in years
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
We
Brandon's
also,
already brought
we
it up.
don't have a dedicated person to handle our sales online. We've never had that, there, you know, so Brandon.
Brandon volunteered to do it, I mean,
He's
he,
it's a
and it's a
huge
huge undertaking for
responsibility.
It is.
Takes a
Oh,
lot of
Brandon.
time.
Tell them that's a bonus.
Takes a lot of teeth, a lot of teeth, a lot of eyes to dot, and the law changed in
Very good job.
2013.
Yeah.
Because I know what y'all are facing when you bring one in.
yeah, it can be a nightmare.
Well,
It's
why
not
don't
worth it
we,
on most of them, really.
why don't we go ahead and find out how much it's gonna cost through the engineers, and then take a look at these other options, and come back to you, and let's discuss it some more. What do y'all think?
Do some more homework.
Put it back on homework session next month.
Yeah.
All righty.
You wish you had brought this one
Well,
up.
may I?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Chief, can you please stand up over here? Thank you. Sent y'all an email today about a case that was finally closed as of November 9th, which is what was holding up what I was gonna propose. Mark has done an excellent job since he took over. I've never seen the police department as happy as they are, as efficient as they are. And I am planning on making it permanent.
You want our acquiescence?
She don't need it.
I know she doesn't need it. Is she asking for our acquiescence?
I'm just sharing with you, and I'm very proud of Mark.
Thank you. I have no problem with it.
Yeah, get a real badge this time.
Yeah, can you please? It says department, not sergeant this time.
Get a real badge.
Get some new shirts.
Keep you on the stars, get you some stars.
See you wear a coat sometime. They're in the desk drawer. What about the, public works building?
I still think we need to do that. Jerry's been taking some time off before he loses it. So when he gets back, I wanna get some quotes. We're gonna probably go out to bid for it anyway, because we have to.
This is basically just a shed.
It's
Three-sided
basically
shed.
a three-sided shed, yeah.
And it will help clean up the back tremendously.
Oh, yeah, and protect the equipment we do have, which is the key.
I agree.
It ain't metal, is it?
Yep, can't be a carport, is it?
It's not a carport.
Truck shed.
Just wanna make sure we're
Yes.
carport. I mean, that's like, why would
But have
you want,
six in there.
like, why would you wanna buy a $390,000 fire truck, park it outside for the weather to tear it up?
It's gonna be in here.
That's true.
Definitely inside. I'm just playing.
And just one more thing, just a reminder that we have our goal setting session
I've been here at what time?
here at 8 o'clock.
We're having a Destin
6:30.
Beach.
Yeah.
6:30 in the morning.
Just
You wish.
I'll be there.
We can call a pool.
Is that all in that section? All right, now we have general discussion. Does anyone have anything? Yes, sir.
Got you. One of the things I've run across is looking at what's going on at the State House. I don't know if y'all are aware of it, but the state of Tennessee, in its general fund, they have a one-time surplus of funds of over $1 billion, that's a B, $1 billion. And they also have revenue growth that has, for 2017, 2018 budget, is, and this is recurring growth of $1 billion. So $2 billion is what they're looking at, is what these legislators up there at the General Assembly have going into this session when they convene on January the 10th. One of the things that, there's several proposals I've heard up there. One of them is the administration is wanting to propose lowering the excise tax from 6.5% to 6%. which, for whatever reason, is beneficial to corporations and you know, LLCs and everything else. Brian Kelsey, out of Germantown, senator out of Germantown, has a proposal, he says he's gonna be introducing a bill that would allow for, to divert a half-cent of the state rate, of the state sales tax rate to the cities, which is about $500 million. This is his proposal. Now, what I'm asking, obviously, in looking at this, and the purpose behind it, what he says is, Brian Kelsey said he would propose to divert a half-cent of the full state rate, which equates to $500 million, to city governments to help our cities keep our property taxes low. Now, all of us would like to keep our property taxes low. I mean, we're gonna be paying, no offense, you know, $7,000 to $10,000 additional per year, and everything's gonna be going up. We all know that, just like every, you know, gas is gonna be going up. That's why we're going to agree to go ahead and enter into this extension. So what I'm asking y'all is to consider perhaps putting together a resolution, if we're all in agreement, and send it to Kelsey and some of our legislators, tell them to support his proposal.
How are they gonna help us keep the property taxes down?
No, they're gonna be giving us a half-cent sales tax. So in other words, on the state rate, right now.
No, I understand, but how is the revenue gonna come in? Is it gonna come in with conditions, or is it just money that they're gonna give us?
In the resolution, we need to put down that it doesn't come in, Brian Kelsey's idea is that it doesn't come in with conditions.
Okay.
You know as well as I do, when it gets up there in the General Assembly, there may be conditions. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that we need to agree to this, but all of us would like to, you know, keep our property taxes low, because, you know, that's how this city operates, you know, primarily. We all know that.
That's what
So-
the general fund operates on.
Yeah, and so this, if Brian Kelsey is proposing that out of that state tax rate, we're gonna get to keep our city rate, to give us an additional, you know, half-cent from that. You know, I'm all for supporting him and telling everybody up there they need to support him also, because that will, I guess, make a less of an impact on us as far as our costs later on, if we can get that money. And you figure right now, the state's got $2 billion in excess money, $1 billion. Now, why aren't they passing it on to the cities? And Kelsey's the only one that's come up with it now. And keep in mind, you're gonna hear arguments that, you know, the gas fund, they're gonna increase gas, that's a whole separate, different fund.
That goes to.
That goes to the road, that's a separate fund. And so this money, that $2 billion, I think there's about $120 million that they can move over to the transportation fund. And that's because under Governor Bredesen, he borrowed $240 million, and they paid half of it back to the transportation fund last year, and they paid the other half this year. But the state's got a heck of a surplus, and it's coming off the backs of the cities and the counties. And so I would like us to consider, we don't have to do it tonight, but I'd like us to consider supporting Kelsey and some of those other guys to get that half-cent back to the cities. Now, I don't know how much that would mean to us, but it would help us some.
That'd go a long ways toward that fire truck.
Yeah. That go in the general fund. Now, keep in mind, Kelsey, he may get somewhere with it, he may not get somewhere with it. Won't hurt to ask, what I'd like to do is, for us to say something to Representative Rogers, and, Senator Roberts, and Senator Earl Hale, and all them. Because we're gonna be doing something already with the other motel tax, so why don't we just go ahead and push them hard?
Sounds like there's consensus. Let me see what I can do.
See what you think.
Maybe in 2 days.
Yeah. let Mr. Doris draft it.
Yeah. There'll be no consensus. It'll be all over none.
Anybody have anything else in general discussion? Well, I don't. Appreciate y'all coming. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.